This is KGW News at noon.
We start with breaking news this noon. Former Portland City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty has reached a settlement ahead of a trial that was supposed to start on Monday. She sued the city, the Portland Police Association, the former PPA president, and another officer, alleging they leaked false information that she was involved in a hit and run. Hardesty has already settled with the city. That was back in August. As of yet, we do not know the terms of the settlement with the PPA, but they did issue a statement. It says, quote, "The PPA's insurance carrier made the business decision to settle this case. The PPA is pleased to have this matter behind it." We have reached out to Hardesty and the others involved in this case. We will update you as we get more details. Also this noon, breaking news out of New York. A Greyhound charter bus carrying a high school band from Long Island has run off the highway and crashed down that embankment. This happened in the town of Wawayanda, about 70 miles northwest of Manhattan. The video shows the devastating scene with the bus there on its side, emergency responders on scene. At least one person is dead and 46 others are injured, 5 of them critically. We'll certainly keep you updated as we get more information. And in the nation's capital today, a visit from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He's urging Congress to support more aid for Ukraine in its war with Russia. Zelensky is meeting with President Biden right now after speaking to Senate leaders Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell. Thank you for joining us today. It is a busy news day. I'm Brenda Braxton. These talks on Capitol Hill come at a critical time as Congress tries to avoid a looming government shutdown. Bree Jackson has the latest from Washington.
For the second time in less than a year, Ukrainian President Zelensky is back in Washington, hoping to convince Congress that supporting his country in the war against Russia is really a fight for democracy. His plea comes after meeting with world leaders at the UN this week and 19 months after Russia invaded Ukraine.
Ukrainian soldiers now are doing at the expense of their blood what the UN Security Council should do by its voting. They're stopping aggression and upholding the principles of the UN Charter.
Lawmakers are considering more aid for his war-torn country. The Republican Party is divided.
I don't support additional funding for Ukraine. My view is we need to, number one, take care of our folks first.
Letting Putin win doesn't make any problem at home better, it makes it worse.
Funding for Ukraine is one sticking point in spending talks. The White House has requested $24 billion in assistance for Ukraine. So far, that has not been included in House Republicans' proposals. Congress must reach an agreement by the end of this month or risk a government shutdown.
Look, it's not September 30th. The game is not over, so we continue to work through it.
A shutdown would be disastrous. A shutdown would be unnecessary. And make no mistake, a shutdown is certainly avoidable.
The shutdown clock is ticking for lawmakers as the war in Ukraine rages on. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Back here in Portland, the search is on for a serial arsonist who's on a fire-setting spree. Surveillance video captured him there, and KGW's Alma McCarty has a closer look this noon at some of the evidence.
It just seems utterly disrespectful, irresponsible.
Neighbors up and down Portland's east side feeling wary Wednesday afternoon following a string of fires in the early morning hours.
So I was sleeping upstairs, and at about 6:20 a.m., I hear banging on my door.
Christy Ivancic awoke to a fire set to shrubs just outside her front door on Southeast Franklin Street. She says she had to jump out of the side of her house to avoid the flames, captured on her doorbell camera.
It was close. I think it could have gotten to a point if I didn't get my hose out and the guys didn't come over, my house would have been on fire.
The blaze here, one of several set this morning, according to Portland Fire and Rescue. Investigators believe this man, captured on camera starting more than one fire, is to blame. They've deemed the suspect a serial arsonist, beginning in northeast Portland before heading south. First, lighting a fire in this dumpster in the Kearns neighborhood, before setting fire to a pallet of pots off southeast Ankeny Street.
I've grown up in Portland my whole life, and it just seems like it's getting more out of hand every day.
Jordan McCoy noticed the burn damage when he got into work. He's glad this fire wasn't worse, given the apartment building next to the lot.
It's destructive, you know. I mean, we live in a city that's kind of going through a lot right now, and to have people who are just trying to be destructive like this, it's kind of a unfortunate situation.
So it was almost a 4-mile path of travel from 28th and Sandy down to Oaks Bottom area.
Within that area, Lieutenant Jason Anderson says they've identified 11 fires they believe to be connected, set between 3 a.m. and just after 7 a.m. With the suspect still at large, additional damage or another string of fires remains a concern.
And I understand that, you know, sometimes we become sort of complacent about the things that occur around us. But when we're dealing with something like this, especially a serial fire setter, we want the public to be aware and maybe to increase their vigilance just a little bit.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Other headlines we're tracking for you this noon. The man accused of killing a young mother in a street racing crash is expected to reach a plea deal with prosecutors today. Kenneth Freeman is charged with manslaughter in the death of 26-year-old Ashley McGill. Police say she was waiting for the bus at 133rd and Southeast Stark in August of last year when Freeman lost control of his car, hit her, and then took off. A Woodburn man has been charged with murdering a woman whose body was found in a Salem motel last month. Police tell us Raul Martinez surrendered to authorities this week. He's accused of killing Janet Ramos Hernandez. Police really haven't released many details about this crime, but say the 22-year-old was found at the Shiloh Inn on Market Street. And Portland is about to get a new police chief. Yesterday, Chuck Lavelle announced he's stepping down effective October 11th. Mayor Wheeler has appointed Bob Day as the interim police chief. He worked at PPB for 29 years and came out of retirement to take the top job. A KGW investigation helped a Salem veteran get his money back after he was targeted by scammers. Milton Zimmer served in Vietnam. He lives with a disability and relies on Social Security and veterans benefits to survive. Each month, he uses a Direct Express debit card to access his money. But it was rejected this summer when he went to pay for his groceries. It had a zero balance, even though he was supposed to have $140 in cash. He asked Direct Express to send him account statements for the past 6 months. That's when he discovered that somebody had been making unauthorized purchases online.
Are these purchases you'd normally make?
No, not really, not at all.
Wrinkle-free cream and beauty cream?
Do I look like I have wrinkle-free cream?
So he filed a complaint with Direct Express. It said it couldn't reimburse him because it found no evidence of fraud. Well, after KGW started looking into this, Zimmer says he heard from the bank and it agreed to refund him $5,000. There are a whole lot of twists and turns to this story. If you'd like to see Kyla Boshi's full investigation, it's posted right now on KGW's YouTube channel. All right, let's head back to the Weather Center now on this last full day of summer. Rod, it's beautiful this afternoon.
It is here on the west side. Now out east, we're still looking at some showers. You see the low curl right here? That's an upper level low. It was the reason we had a few showers here on the west side of our state 24 hours ago. But right now, everything is staying east of the Cascades. Haven't seen any lightning yet, but it's a possibility. So you folks should keep an eye to the sky, as the saying goes. That chance of rain does include you folks in the Dalles and also over into the Bend, Sun River area. But back to what Brenda was referring to. Clear skies at the Oregon coast right now. Our Lincoln City Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera also clear out over the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha and warming up nicely. We were in the 40s this morning, but 65 right now. And the clear skies across the entire region. From west to east side we go. There's Camas Meadows Golf Course. Winds are calm, just a delightful noon hour. 63 out at the airport, 77 today's high. cooling into the 60s by 8 o'clock. It'll be another chilly night tonight. I still expect rain to return as quickly as Saturday, and we'll get into all that rain coming next week in my complete forecast.
Thank you, Rod. Student test scores in Oregon are steadily improving, but they're still not as good as they were before the pandemic. These are federally mandated tests and give districts kind of a snapshot of how the kids are doing. Here in Portland, scores are still far below 2019 levels, but the district says it's dedicated to helping schools improve.
So we realize that not all schools are meeting with the same levels of success. And what we're trying to do is really focus on schools where traditionally they haven't met with success and they are now meeting with success, and trying to find out what those leadership moves are so that we can try to replicate that, working with Dr. Franco and the chief of schools across the school district.
You'll find all the test results broken down by school and district if you go to oregon.gov/ODE.